The Hangout on Air is live. All right, here
All
we
right.
go.
All right.
Testing, testing. Today on Quality Time with Family Ties, we learn whether his parents are married or divorced. David Faustino never had a chance.
And in 3, 2, 1. Hey everyone, welcome to Quality Time with Family Ties. I am one of your hosts, Scott Jones. Joining me as always, Mr. Paul Packler. Paul, how's it going?
I need to close these wasabi peas or I'm going to eat them the whole show.
I know you've been munching on those while we've been talking.
I know, it's going to be terrible for the sound and I'm going to get fat. It's going to be just bad all around.
I'd worry
Look at all
about
that.
the hot shits tomorrow, Paul.
Yeah.
It's true, you get little green pea. No, green poop.
Yep.
Yeah, well, Paul, between that and the Chipotle, you're colon, man.
Not my friend. It's not my friend.
Corey, how are you, man?
I am just fine and dandy.
Lovely.
How's the weather out there,
Wait.
guys? Is it nice? We might be hit by a hurricane. What about you?
Oh, not us.
It's-
We would
No.
we'd love to have a little rain. Rain would be nice.
Yeah.
No.
It's
Cooling off
it's
weekend.
too fucking hot for October.
It is.
Yeah.
Could you see that moon? Could you see Crazy Moon the other night?
You know, we had clouds. You had clouds in New York too, didn't you?
Yeah, but there was like a couple of times that we were able to see it, and then the clouds were there for a while, and then we could see it later. So
We were able to see just like little crescent shape, but then not a lot of color like I was expecting.
right.
Yeah, we just got little peaks from behind the clouds here too. So, and we were like up on the roof of our apartment, and that's about as good as we got.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So anyway, gang, we are on season 2, episode 10, To Snatch a Keith.
And I thought I was really going to like this episode because any episode that has the word snatch in its title, it's a winner to me.
Corey, were you extremely disappointed when that British movie Snatch came out years ago?
The Guy Ritchie
Thought it
movie.
was porn. Thought it was
Yeah.
porn. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's fair enough. I mean, the movie's called Snatch, so I mean, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You get to see Brad Pitt with his shirt off a bunch. You know. So there's
Yeah.
But that ain't snatch in my opinion.
that.
So we're kind of dealing with another very special episode of Family Ties. This
Oh,
one
when you say
focusing on
special, do you mean like
something-
an after-school special? It was the
Yes,
prime
very
time
much so,
equivalent
Corey.
of an after-school special.
This is
Yeah, this is more like an afternoon special.
this is special in the way of someone who's had oxygen deprivation for more than 30 seconds, and then they survive, and then you have to live with them for another 40 years. It's
Yeah,
that kind
they're-
of special.
They're not
The
quite
air-
there, and their reasoning and logic is gone.
You're right.
But I want to hear the pitch meeting on this one. Yeah? Hey, Gary, I got this great idea. We'll have a parent kidnap a child. I know it's a comedy. Of course it's a comedy. We'll kidnap a child. Well, maybe that wasn't the best idea for comedy.
And they never even use the word kidnap. The police never get
No.
involved. This
Nope.
episode is the close. Like, my
Uh,
God, my goal going into watching the episode tonight was, Paul, just don't hate it. Just don't get angry.
I think that's where we've sunk into with this season. It's like just please give us something not to completely hate.
Yeah, this is almost us at the point in a relationship where you're going to start thinking about divorce proceedings. Like,
Yeah.
if
Yeah.
we're
gonna have. I
what are
think
these
with this
assholes'
season
names?
over, we're gonna really have to sit down and talk.
Yeah.
Are
What
we?
is this? Richard and what's her name?
Cynthia.
This is like a month before she says, "Richard, I'm leaving."
Yeah. The magic is gone. The nostalgia for us is gone.
No.
But this is weird too, because I remember there was an episode of Webster almost exactly like this, where a divorcing couple, the father kidnaps the kid. And there were so many kidnapping episodes of sitcoms back then what was going on in the early 80s to create this fear?
I have no idea, but boy,
it's just bizarre.
It wasn't funny. It got really dramatic in the second act.
Oh, really dramatic.
Bordering on melodramatic.
Yeah, thank God they brought in that Shakespearean actor to play Richard. Holy shit.
The levels.
I had to look up whether he went to Carnegie Mellon or not, because like the way he was pronouncing words, I was like, this guy knows.
I got he's a Shakespearean actor, and then I know that I actually knew this guy for a while.
Oh, really?
Did you?
I think he passed away at an early age. Something's telling me he passed away at an early age.
Oh, jeez.
But I think I was dating a girl once who was, and then after we finished dating, she started dating him.
Wow.
Well, let's jump into it, because already this episode gets off on a strange foot. Steven and Elise are fighting.
That's a strange choice.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just the kids are listening in on a fight that they're having in the kitchen. And it's just, it's a strange choice, and it's very unclear at first what they're fighting over. And it took me a second. Of course the Keatons will be fighting over about the goddamn phone.
Mm-hmm. Hey, the phone is always a place of trouble, and orange juice is a place of solace.
Of comfort.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And again, the phone is a place of trouble, yet they have two phone lines. So, again.
Never forget.
But apparently, Steven is mad at Elise because he was sleeping, he got to sleep in, and she let the phone keep ringing. Because she's in the shower.
This problem is...
shower.
Yeah, she was... Yeah.
So I think she's got a sound excuse.
Oh, absolutely. But it's
that's like, what was I supposed to do? How can I answer the phone? I'm in the shower. You don't even hear the phone when it's in the shower most of the time.
Yeah. This problem is insane. This is such a 1983 problem because they don't have an answering machine. The problem is that what they're arguing over is that she let it ring 7 times, and that's unacceptable. And she was, like you said, in the shower, and so she couldn't get to the phone. And he was sleeping, so he didn't want to get out of bed to get the phone. But, 4 rings is your normal voicemail?
Yeah, usually.
Yeah. It's so funny. While I have a problem with this episode in general, the use of this meaningless fight to spark the episode, I don't think is the worst idea they've ever had. And the callback to this fight throughout the episode, including the ending, I thought was relatively competently done. It's the meat of this fight that we can be nitpicky with and go, that didn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
and then the whole rest of the episode made no sense.
the arc of it throughout the episode and the way it tied into the theme of
of the divorce and
stuff
the
like
fighting couple and
Yeah.
will mom and dad ever get a divorce? I thought all of that was okay. I felt they were hovering around a good idea in this episode and then totally went in a bad direction.
Absolutely, yeah. I think that's the whole episode.
Right.
Like, it's a good theme. It's a good thing to talk about. Everyone was talking about it at the time, divorce and stuff. But yeah, just the way they attacked both plot lines is just ridiculous.
If they had actually given Elise and Steven a good, legitimate fight, a reasonable fight, that's something that people really would fight this hard over, and use that to compare the divorce of Richard and Cynthia, and show the difference of how they handle their problems, how the other couple handles their problems, that would have been a lot better.
Sure.
Yeah. So yeah, they're arguing, and I also wrote down, it's like, they're arguing over this, but let's remember in this season, Steven almost cheated on Elise. And Elise was cool with that. Anyway, and so they're expecting Steven's friend Keith to come over.
Richard.
And there's a knock at the door.
Steven's friend Richard.
Yeah, Richard, sorry. Richard coming over, and Richard kind of tells Elise, let's chill out on the fight. He's having a rough time with his divorce. Let's show him a good side of marriage. There's a knock at the door, and it's Richard and his son Keith. bringing kites. And immediately, Richard launches into an advertisement for, and it's supposed to kind of show us, hey, this guy's fun.
Yeah, I don't get the kite thing at all. That doesn't make any sense. The exciting thing about this is that David Faustino from Married with Children is playing Keith, the kid. He's, what, 9 years old or something? And he's very cute. He's a cute, competent child actor. I thought that was very good.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he held his own in the scenes that he was in. He didn't, like, derail them the way Teeny Others does.
No.
Yeah, I thought that was great. I don't know why Richard is obsessed with those goddamn kites. Like,
Nor do I.
No.
Give it a rest.
I also would like to know why the costumer on this show seemingly fights belts. She will not let actors wear belts.
I had that written down, too.
His posture in this scene, the way his hands were in his pocket, in his front little slit pocket with no belt on his corduroys, whatever he was wearing, it looked stupid, and he looked stupid.
Yeah, he was. I think they were trying to get at you, Corey. I think that, like, with all the attention to his crotchal region, I think they wanted you to notice that he was tucked in and not wearing a belt, and they were like, in 30 years.
Someone's going to be very irritated with me.
Yeah.
And it's me. I spent the whole episode just hating, and his perm. And I'm going to say, I think that's a perm. But he had
the
a perm.
80s male perm, yes. Yeah.
And it just looked stupid.
It did.
It's like
stupid.
I think that's what they wanted to show is like he's the divorced dad, single again, kind of schlubby. You know, he's got like a studio apartment he's living out of. He doesn't know how to dress himself if he doesn't have his wife around. He's just gonna look stupid.
Right. He's the guy that's never gonna grow up. That's what you're supposed, because he's wearing like the old baseball jacket type thing, and But the funny thing in the lead up to Richard and Keith coming in, though, something that I liked was how good Steven and especially Elise are. It's like a little shtick they have where they're fighting and then they see the kids and then they're all like, hey, how's it going? And I learned that skill from my mom, where she would be like yelling at us, or she and my dad would be yelling at each other, or whatever. And then when the phone would ring, ironically enough, she would pick up the phone and be like, hello? And so just being able to compartmentalize your anger is a great skill.
Yeah, my parents didn't try and mask when they were fighting. In front
Oh, really?
When they were fighting, they were just fighting. That's all there was to it.
Yeah.
But they didn't try and mask it from the kids like Steven and Elise do.
Yeah.
Yeah. Growing up, mine was the exact opposite, Corey. My parents, like, from the South, we sugarcoat everything.
Sure.
Yeah, and then
so you
fry
don't reveal, like, yeah. Yep. And they get diabetes and die.
But so they were like traveling all around, David Faustino and what can we call him? He's like Edgar from King Lear.
Yeah.
They were like partying all over town, and they went to the Football Hall of Fame, which I went to as a kid.
Canton, Ohio.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And so that was as boring as you can imagine. And
I can see a young brooding Paul Packler at the Football Hall of Fame.
Oh yeah. And so they send all the kids away, and the craziest part to me in this episode so far was that Richard calls his ex-wife a witch, and it's like they really wanted you to know that he meant bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. He really emphasizes witch.
Yeah. No.
Yeah. There was also that weird thing about they talk about the time when they all were together summer, and he was falling in love with Cynthia and Kelp.
Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't get why. Yeah. It was odd. But we also find out Cynthia, Richard's wife, is moving to San Diego and taking Keith with her.
Yeah.
Now, here's where I want to say, even I know this was a bunch of years ago, and the laws are different, But it seems there's sort of the current custody arrangement. Look, they're separated. There has to be a custody arrangement, and then even later on, Stephen says you got to go back to court. So if you have to go back to court, that means you were in court, and if you were in court, then there's a custody arrangement in place, and they're seemingly spending Sundays together. Now I don't know whether that is a custody or whether Cynthia's simply being nice to Richard and letting him hang out with his son on Sundays.
So,
But really isn't explained very well.
Yeah, so are you saying that we should assume that either he got only 1 day a week or he got no days a week?
Right. That's one or the other is what I'm assuming.
So it's a pretty bad deal for Richard. Like obviously the court was like, you're not a great parent. So
that's what my assumption is. And then we find out that he has a very sketchy work past.
Right.
I'm still wondering how he and Stephen are friends or why they're friends with each other. They seem very disparate kind of people.
They really do.
Yeah, really different. And yeah, you're right, Corey. And usually with custody, it's kind of like the week is divided up, and weekends are divided up, so that it's equal. You don't just get like a Sunday a week. It's more divided.
And then, so the whole thing was like, and then if you do have a custody arrangement where you have the kid a certain amount of time during the week, then Mom can't decide to move across the country because you have a custody arrangement.
Now, what happens if you are working a job where you get transferred to a different state or something like that?
Usually you have to go back to court and get your custody arrangement changed.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to go and spend a lot more money in trying to get this worked out legally. You can't just – if she picked up and moved her kid – she'd be violating the custody agreement by not delivering the kid to the husband on either Sundays or Saturdays and Sundays.
Yeah, because, I mean, it's just as much kidnapping as what he does in the heat of the moment.
Exactly.
Right.
Legally, it would be considered just as much of a kidnapping situation.
I guess. And, you know, and the episode to me has a real strong, you know, divorced father's rights kind of bent to it. Like Gary David Goldberg or whoever the screenwriter was for this episode had some sort of friend who got dicked by the courts and slew of an ex-wife. This is definitely somebody's story.
And somebody watched Tootsie not Tootsie, Kramer versus Kramer.
Right.
This is Kramer,
and then tried to ape that whole thing.
When was Kramer versus Kramer? Right. What year was that?
I think it's got to be around there, like maybe 82 or something.
Wow. So that's on people's minds. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, here, wait one second. I'm looking right now. But yeah, definitely like the themes and the whole, you know, dads get screwed. 79 it came out.
Oh, okay. So it's been out it's been out there for a while. 4
years old, but still, it's on father's rights is on people's consciousness
at that time. Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, here's also what's interesting is throughout this episode, both Elise and Cynthia really don't get much of a say in this episode at all. Like, Elise hardly has any part in this. And Cynthia continually says, what about me? You always are taking Richard's side. What about me? And that was the thing. I was like, yeah, it's two people in a marriage. It's never, unless your spouse is like abusive, drunk, or high, and you know, extremely abusive. It's always two people that just couldn't come together. You know?
And the whole begging later on of taking sides and whose side are you on, or you're on his side. And you know what? In a divorce, people always end up having to take sides or seemingly having to take sides.
Right.
It's very hard to escape with everything intact after a divorce.
Yeah.
And the other thing we don't know is how long they've been divorced by this point in the episode. Like, if this is or if this has been a sort of a problem for a while, you just can't tell.
Right. So we go to the kitchen. The kids are trying to build a kite. Alex keeps breaking them. There's a lot of talk about going to California, and the kids go off. Richard and Stephen are left in the kitchen to talk about what he's been going through with the courts, with Cynthia. He starts smoking, which was so odd to see on TV again.
Oh, yeah.
It was so weird, and it keeps getting brought up. But it was also, I know if smoking's on TV today, it has to be painted in a negative light. There has to be like a comment on it saying it's bad, which they did in this episode because he kept apologizing for smoking in their house. But it was just really odd to see smoking as part of a scene.
Mm-hmm. It was
on TV. Yeah. And then Elise runs in because we have to work her in somehow. Like she comes in out of nowhere. This whole scene was just really strange of him. Of like, I had more questions about Richard in this scene because everything is so vague about how much money he spent in court. The whole idea of custody, like we were talking about, it's never clear what exactly him and Cynthia agreed on in the first place.
Yeah,
and I think that's part of making her seem a bit villainous by not making it clear. Because I think she comes off as, I mean, he doesn't come off well either. They both come off as, hey, you two assholes deserve each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And nobody seems to really be mentioning how they're going to provide a better life for the child, which would be the only sympathetic focus that you could ever this whole thing.
Yeah.
How am I going to benefit him?
One, I feel like the biggest problem, because these are all important issues to be had, but this episode in particular feels like an outline. I've never seen a TV show where an episode felt like the script outline and that they never went any further with it. Like
it never got deeper than an outline.
No! Like, it just feels like throwing out an idea of like what the characters are saying to each other, and there's no growth or examination of anything.
Maybe that's why I felt as though the structure of it is pretty sound. It's not a terrible structure. It's everything that goes in between the idea and the end of that idea.
Totally.
The structure seems to work, but the dialogue was just sort of dreadful and heavy-handed. And
the characters, you didn't give a shit. I didn't give a shit about
and they didn't really.
Who cares?
And it took till the very, very end for them to have any kind of change at all. Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, it felt very paint by numbers. It felt like an outline.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And then we find how much playtime did Mrs. Olbeck get in this episode?
Oh, she was getting like she was like the Ronald Reagan at the Republican debate. Like no one could go 5 seconds without bringing up Mrs. Olbeck.
Gotta mention Mrs. Olbeck. It was like, oh my God.
She's right there. She's always with us. Always with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're talking about the Olbecks outside. We also find out that, so Cynthia is going to be coming over. And again, they have this bit of Richard smoking. He smokes, and she comes in. She's like, is something burning in here? Mm-hmm. And he's like, God, 3 hours later, and she still smells it. And
he also Richard also says something in the minutes before Cynthia arrives. He says the word room as room, and I loved that. I thought that was great. It's like when somebody says for a robot, they say robot. That's a personal favorite.
Robot.
Yeah. But then, Cynthia does arrive.
And
and they have this awkward coffee.
We've got to talk about who Cynthia is. The actress.
I don't know.
Tell us, Corey. I don't know.
No? That is Broadway musical theater Tony Award winner Donna McKechnie. Donna McKechnie, who perhaps created one of the most iconic roles in musical theater history. She is, and her story is the story of Cassie in A Chorus Line.
Oh, wow.
The focal point of the whole story of A Chorus Line is about Donna McKechnie and her relationship with Michael Bennett. She was married to homosexual director, choreographer Michael Bennett, and starred in a whole bunch of his musicals, was in Company, was in Chorus Line, went on to star in a whole bunch, and then after her dance career, ended up coming out to California and doing some character work and stuff on TV, such as this.
Wow.
Did they stay married throughout the whole time, or no?
I think they divorced before he passed away from AIDS.
Okay. Oh, jeez.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah.
God damn it, Corey. That's why you're on this show. This info.
To give My musical theater
amazing.
knowledge, 'cause I know about musicals.
Second to none.
Second to none.
So this whole scene
Uh,
with Cynthia is the very definition of awkward.
Yes.
Yeah.
All you can do is
It's-
go, oh, wow, this is awkward. Oh, this is really awkward.
It's awkward with this bit that keeps going on forever of them continuing to say, so you're fine.
No,
That's
I'm
fine.
fine. I
I'm
just wrote that
fine.
down. Fine. She's fine.
Fine.
Everyone's fine.
Yeah. I wrote down fucking fine.
Yeah, we're all fine. We've established it's the fine line between Meisner and being fucking annoying. they somehow crossed into that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just really awkward, and things get heated between Richard and Cynthia. And Richard goes off to smoke in the front yard. So he won't soil their house. He'll soil their neighborhood with his smoke. And
Oh, and when he goes out, Steven starts getting all mansplaining. He's all like, Cynthia, he's had a really tough go of it. I was like, oh, Steven from season 1 is back. All right. Yeah.
Mansplaining.
yeah, that's what was annoying. Is like he's had a really tough go. What do you think? She went through the same divorce.
Exactly. That's what, yeah.
Of course, and it's sort of very
You
short-sighted.
can't say that to the other person in the divorce.
Right. And you got to even be aware, even if you are on one side or the other, that both of them went through the exact same, their words, horrible divorce.
Right. They're both feeling pain and anguish from this. So it's not like one had it more than the other. And I kind of like the line that she said. She's like, yeah, he gets to be the fun dad. He gets to do all this fun stuff. I'm the one that has to make him responsible and do his homework and eat right and all that stuff. So, yeah, it's hard on her, too.
Yeah, that's very another divorce movie where that gets that sort of dynamic gets played to the hilt is Mrs. Doubtfire.
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's what I thought of when I was watching that scene. It's like, oh, this is Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, the beginning of the movie when he's like, having a stripper and a donkey at the house, and they're listening to House of Pain and all that nonsense. But
Hey, Scott, have you ever been out with Henry alone without Carrie on a Saturday or Sunday morning and get the sympathetic eyes of someone who's like, oh, you're a divorced dad, and I've gotten that. And I
have you? I never have. I'm usually.
You will at some point. You'll go out with him like on a Saturday or Sunday somewhere, and just the two of you will do something. And I've gotten sympathetic eyes with Logan, like, oh, that's so sweet that you're spending the weekends with your son. It's like, thanks for asking, but everything's fine, okay? But
oh yeah, wow.
My wife's busy. Sorry.
that's crazy. My mom used to get that when she would take my sister and I to church on Sundays. My dad would be at the store. He would be working and not be at church.
Oh, sure.
And so, like, everyone, all these old Italians in Carnegie would be like, oh, this little woman with her 2 children.
The single mother with the divorcee tackler.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
But the other thing, I just want to bring up very quickly, before we go to commercial and stuff, there's one more thing that I just want to go back and re-examine. We're waiting for Richard and Cynthia and Keith to come over. And why, after this horrible divorce, why are they going to the Keatons to have the drop-off of Keith from one parent to the other? Why are they all
They never explain that. I wrote
don't.
that down too. They never explain why this is the drop-off.
Okay.
And if you're the Keatons, why in God's name would you agree to be the drop-off? Wait, this is something I want to get involved
I
with?
want that.
That's a fucking divorce?
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the phone call. So Steven, my witch ex-wife is going to be coming over, and I got to drop off the kid. Can we use your house? Maybe have some coffee really quick and drop off the kid?
It'll be
That
better
be okay for you?
Yeah. Does that work
Yeah.
for you guys on a Sunday afternoon?
Yeah. You want us to ruin your week by us coming over just dropping off the kid? Yeah. And so what happens next is Alex comes in from outside with a note to give to Cynthia, or to Steven, I think, And it's to say that Richard is kind of rubbing it in Cynthia's face. Well, I need to get out of here too, and I'm taking Keith with me, and so he has run off with Keith while he has been outside.
I mean,
you say run off. I say he's kidnapped his son.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it's a kidnap. It's a kidnap.
If it's 2015, there's an Amber Alert that goes out immediately.
I'll get a fucking text on my phone and be like, dismiss, don't care.
Yes. Yeah. Paul texts back, I don't care.
I do block this caller with 311. I'm like, no, I don't care. I do not care. Some little shit in Connecticut got Amber Alerted. I don't care. Anyway, all right. Well, on that note, on Alex's note, let's take a break. We'll be right back. You okay, Corey, or do you have to go?
Oh yeah, I'm just moving locations and plugging my phone in.
Okay. Yeah, okay. Dun, dun, dun. Where?
So how was your class today? Was it good?
It was good. It was good.
What did you guys work on?
Yeah, I got a good... kind of making emotional choices when starting your scene.
Okay, like having a deal, like having some like way that you're going to respond to everything?
Yeah, just start, taking the suggestion and start having an opinion on it, like if if the action is you're working at a pizza restaurant, have an opinion about it, not just okay, we're making pizza. So it was good. By the end of it, they were getting it.
Cool, that's awesome.
Yeah, I'm starting to get him into doing a little bit more long form stuff, which is fun.
Nice.
Yeah. How's your how your improv shows going, man?
Good. I just had a rehearsal last night with my indie team, and it went really well. Like, we were doing sort of like UCB type game stuff, which like I just need to like work on specificity in a scene. Mm-hmm. Like in a two-person scene, it's like you just keep building little buildings. You're like, all right, so we're two grave diggers, and then we're both alcoholics, and then we both know each other from the war, and blah blah. And it's just like no. You establish that you're both grave diggers. Just keep building that building all the way up. And so, when you're up there, you're just like your wheels are spinning and you're constantly like, all right, so now what? Now what? Now what? And it's like, no, calm down. Just focus. And so we were working on that, and it's really boring to do that kind of stuff, but it was very beneficial. Yeah,
it's kind of like adding too much information too fast, you don't get a chance to really explore it. It's not just throwing stuff out there like we're grave diggers, alcoholics, all that. Well, let's explore that a little bit,
Exactly.
Before we go to the next thing. Yeah. That's great, man.
Yeah, it was fun.
All right. Yeah.
You ready?
Cool. And did the sketch show go good?
It was fine. It was the audience seemed to enjoy it. We got a bunch of laughs and stuff, but like ultimately it was just like, it was like I think everybody's first time doing such a thing. So. Oh, okay. Blah blah blah. Anyway, all right, let's go. You ready, Corey?
Oh, you bet.
Okay, cool. All right. All right. We are back. So we're back in the kitchen, and the kids are talking about whether or not Stephen and Elise.
Hold on.
You okay? What happened? Can you hear me?
I got you.
What happened?
I don't know. Something with the connection happened, but I got you back now.
Okay. Anyway,
yeah.
So we're back in the kitchen, and the kids are there, and they're talking about whether Stephen and Elise Keaton will get a divorce.
And even though I think this is a very common thing, especially after kids see their parents fight, that they wonder stuff like that, I thought that the whole scene was sort of stilted and forced.
Yeah, it felt contrived.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, it was a good. I mean, it made sense for the kids to have that kind of conversation, but again, it was so heavy-handed and so forced. It was distracting. Um, but then, so the Stephen, Elise, and Cynthia come in. They tell the kids flat out to leave so they can talk. And this is where things got so confusing because we heard a lot of things that Stephen had done in that short amount of time that we never saw. We find out that Stephen has talked to Richard.
Mm-hmm.
Has given him money,
Mm-hmm.
and has said that he feels an obligation to be involved as a friend. When did all this take place?
And not to mention, he's now aiding and abetting a criminal.
Right, but I mean, that was before the fact. It was like he gave him money and then he ran off. So it wasn't like he was like, "Give me money so I can run off."
Right.
You know.
Right. Yeah. And again, this is where, like, I was shocked that, like, Elise hardly has any dialogue in this scene except for, like, scolding Stephen for giving him money. Mm-hmm. And doesn't even get to, a certain opinion, again, no sympathy. It's all about Richard. Richard is the one that's the hardest hit about this divorce, and nothing for sympathy.
Yeah, I don't understand, like, I just don't understand why the focus is so hard on the guy in the relationship. Like, I get it, it's 1982, and misogyny, and cultural blah, 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 but, like, even so, it's just a boring story if you discount one half of the characters. Like, you could have both of them. You don't have to discount one or the other.
Absolutely.
Right.
You weakened your story by weakening one of the characters, or both of them in this case.
Right.
That's why I really think that some writer watched Kramer versus Kramer, got divorced himself, and then was like, "I'm gonna write my story."
Right. This is
right.
This is my story.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And there's a call that comes into the kitchen, and it's Richard, and he is wanting to meet Stephen at a diner.
Yeah, and they totally missed a joke here when the phone rings, because they've done it at other points in this episode where Stephen and Elise look at each other about who's going to pick up the phone. And
right, this time they don't do it, though.
Yeah, and this would have been the one good time to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right, right. And so, and it cuts right next to, we go to this seedy diner. It looks like a truck stop diner. Like, there's a lot of people in cowboy hats.
Set left over from Roseanne.
Yeah.
Yeah. Before Roseanne. But yeah, so
they went from Dayton, Ohio to Tulsa, Oklahoma, somehow or another.
Yeah, yeah. And there's a guy in a big shit-kicking hat and everything, like a cowboy hat. And
that's how you know it's a redneck bar.
Yeah, and smoking
exactly.
pinball machine. Like, oh my God, if you could smoke indoors, that diner bar thing must stink. I can't even imagine.
Oh God, yeah. That's like the smoking room at an airport.
Yeah.
Yeah, just like
or
flower.
Any table in Vegas, still.
Yeah. You still there? The illusion?
I'm here. I'm here.
Scott?
Is Scott frozen? No, Scott's frozen. No, there he is.
I'm here.
Okay, there we go. So,
yeah.
So then Steven he sits down, he's going to talk with Richard and see what's going on. And that is when Richard launches into Sunday's fathers, Sunday's fools.
Paul, I wrote down the whole entire monologue.
It's brilliant. Sunday's fathers, Sunday's fools. That is the worst line reading of the worst line ever.
Yeah. I had to write out the whole entire monologue.
Oh, okay. Really? Scott, do us the honor.
Okay. You ever been
Wait
to
a second. Wait.
Sorry.
Pretend like we're in a smoky bar. Your 9-year-old son is over there playing pinball, as he has for 45 minutes now.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
You're running away from the law and your ex-wife. Go.
Okay. You ever been to the pony ride, Steve? I go every Sunday. I'm a regular. That's what divorced fathers do on Sunday. You should see us there. Bunch of lonely guys dressed like our kids, trying to do the impossible. Trying to love against the clock. Waving as they come trotting towards us and drying our eyes when they made their turn. We're a club. We ought to have jackets. We're Sunday's fathers. Sunday's fools.
Oh my god!
Thank you.
Wow.
That was the best thing I've ever
That's
heard
what
you
I
do.
use for my auditions from now on.
That was so
Use
much
that as
better
a part
than
of
the
your real
show.
Scott.
I don't care how much acting training you have, it's impossible to do that monologue with a straight face.
Yeah, well, you just
It's
did it,
gone.
my friend. You just nailed
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. So yeah, that's the monologue he says to Steve. It feels like one of the writers was like, I have this play I've been tinkering with, and I'm trying to get it produced, but I think this monologue might fit into this script, so I'm gonna put it in there.
Yeah.
It's my play that's going to be produced up in Syracuse, New York, and it's called Sunday's Fools.
Yeah.
And it's all about fathers' rights.
Oh,
Yeah.
man.
And then they even knew that this was so heavy that we have to have sassy black waitress come on over.
Holy
for 2 lines.
fuck. Corey,
Yeah.
look at that. Look.
Sassy black
Yep.
waitress.
Mhm.
Sassy black waitress had to come over for 2 lines just to
Yep.
separate the scene into halves so that we could go back into the bad second half of the scene.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
Right.
Like, that's all she's there for. And then they do a Buster Keaton thing.
And
Oh.
then the whole Buster Keaton
Yeah, he gets
routine
pissed.
was
It's
like,
weird. Who's on first? Buster Keaton.
wow, you guys have been wanting to do that joke for 6 episodes, and you finally thought, let's use it as comic relief in this dreadfully dramatic scene.
Oh. That was the low point of the whole thing.
Yeah,
The Buster Keaton repartee. Just,
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
I thought it was going to be that fine bit with the awkward coffee, but then they one-upped it with that bit.
Yeah. So just very quickly, just to explain it a little bit, because who gives a shit ultimately? But Steven says something. He's like, "You're gonna regret this, Buster." And then what's his name is like,
Richard
don't tell me
goes,
what to do,
"Keaton."
Keaton. And then he,
Yeah.
don't call me
Did you call me
Buster
Buster
Keaton.
Keaton?
Oh,
I didn't call you Buster Keaton.
Don't call
Aren't
me
you
Buster Keaton.
Buster? No, Buster, you're Keaton.
I didn't call you Buster Keaton.
boom!
Yeah.
That was the audience killing themselves.
Yeah, slowly. Yes. And Richard walks out with Keith. He's like, thanks a lot, Steve, for being there for me. I'm out. And then we cut to the living room. Steven walks in. Cynthia wants to know what's going on. And Steven's response to her is, the only thing I can tell you is he's okay. That's not the only thing he can tell her.
No, you could say, I met with him. He has no intention of returning your child. If I were you, I'd hire a private investigator.
We were
Call
at
the
this
cops,
diner. Yeah. Like, there's a lot he could tell her. He's not like making a solemn pact in secret to Richard.
Yeah.
It's so and so Alex comes in, and because we had to work him in somehow, there has to be an Alex moment in this. We really haven't had one. And he talks about them going on in the summer of '79, going on vacation with Cynthia and Richard, and how he remembered how much in love they were with each other. And the only funny joke, the only time I laughed was like, Steven goes, yeah, they really did love each other. He goes, yeah, I had the room right next to them. They really did love each other.
Yeah, I thought that was a good joke.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
But the question, I mean, Alex is pretty old. Is this the first time he's ever wondered how can people who at one time love each other? Because we read about this in the news all the time. Celebrities get married, and 2 months later they get divorced. I mean, how do you go from one thing to the other in 2 months?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It happens.
Yeah. It does. And do you think that kids today really have this much worry about divorce?
I know I don't. I think it's a lot
Yeah.
more commonplace, so I think it's less worrisome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not saying that it's less traumatic, but just like,
No.
well, I'm around my friends who have been through divorces. I hear about it all the time. You know, like
It's much more
it's a problem that
commonplace.
people have that gets worked through. Yeah, exactly. It's more
Yeah, like remember that there was another episode about divorce or something, and we looked into it, and in 1982 was the peak year for divorce in America. Like there were never more divorces in America than in 1982. So I mean, it was definitely something that was a big, not an epidemic, but something that was in the culture and something new in the culture that was
right,
causing people to want to discuss it.
right. There's a line that Elise says in here when they're kind of making up, or Elise comes in. They kind of have this. Stephen and her have a moment of realizing how silly their fight was, and how lucky they are to be so in love. And it's kind of like them rubbing their relationship in this whole episode's face. Once again, how much better the Keatons are. But she says a line is like, "Have you ever noticed how we always fight before Richard and Cynthia come over? We've never seen them come over. We hardly ever see the Keatons fight."
Yeah. No, she's right. She's exactly right. They do fight every time. The one.
Yeah,
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true. Oh, it's yeah.
And then so what? They kiss and they have a thing and everything's happy and good and it's the kiss with the phone that we see in the opening credits.
Right.
And then the weirdest ending ever. Richard comes in with Keith. They barely say anything to him. He kisses and hugs Keith, leaves, and then Cynthia comes over and hugs Keith, and credits, no applause.
No applause.
No
right?
applause.
It's like the end of West Side Story.
Yeah.
We're just no music. You've been watching a musical for the last 2 hours, but we're not going to play any music now just to make the dramatic purpose of it so much more important. And in this one, we'll let you laugh for 21 minutes, but now, no laughter. We're serious.
Yeah. And it was just weird how Richard left.
Yep.
Like it was a weird exit.
Are you now, after supposedly being so in love with your child that you're on the verge of kidnapping him, now it appears as though you're going to abandon him, and either extreme is not healthy.
No.
Yeah. It looked like he's abandoning him. Even maybe to the extent that I think Richard's going to go find a bridge and jump off it.
The whole thing is just weird and uncomfortable and awkward.
Yeah. And the other thing, I mean, they barely got through this 22 minutes, but like, how about we ask Keith how he's feeling about any of this?
Yeah, no one addresses how Keith. There's not even a line of Keith being confused or wondering what's going on.
Yeah. Keith turns into one of us, Scott. Like, he's probably about the same age. So you know that asshole that can't commit into a relationship with a girl? It's Keith.
It's Keith.
Yeah. Now, I want to ask about West Side Story.
Yeah.
You know what would be if you did want music at the end? You should have somewhere on like a muted trumpet. You know, like how you always walking down New York streets, you hear someone in their apartment playing a trumpet with practicing or something. That would be really nice. Just a lone wailing trumpet. That'd be cool.
That would be good.
Much more creative than that.
Yeah, just just a tone at the end, you know?
Yeah.
That's what this episode needed, just a tone. Some kind of tone. Some comedic tone, at least.
I mean, the last episode, Christmas episode that broke our hearts was, chock full of Alex B. Keaton. This episode could have used a little more Alex B. Keaton.
Or Justine Bateman.
And we still haven't gotten...
painfully shy of that.
Yeah.
Do you think Michael J. Fox has started to work on something else at this point?
No, I think it was this summer that he starts work on Teen Wolf.
Yes.
Okay. I was wondering. I was curious.
So I think it's between seasons 2 and 3.
Okay. Cool. All right. Well, guys, we made it through another one. This has been a rough season. This season was such a high note, and now this is getting rough.
I don't know what we're gonna do. I think next episode we're gonna have a special guest though, so maybe that'll pick things up.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think so. Hopefully, we need something. We need something.
We're gonna have a super surprise guest, and we're gonna discuss some Back to the Future.
Yeah, we are. So, viewers, be sure to tune in next week. All right, guys, that wraps it up for us. And quick editing note to Bryant, since I'm doing this on my phone, I can't pull up on Drive or in credits. So if he can take one from a previous episode and put it on there, I think that should be fine, yeah?
Oh, you mean you can't read them?
Yeah, I can't pull it up on the phone.
Oh, just say it. You've said it 24 times. Just make it up.
I'll try. I know. For some reason I should know this by heart, but I don't, okay? All right, guys, that about wraps it up. Be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes, and be sure to follow us on Twitter at Qtwft. Each of us is also on Twitter. I'm at Follow Jones.
I'm at Paul Packler.
And I'm at Corpep.
And be sure to like our Facebook page. We are part of Fanboy Comics. Fanboy Comics is an online conglomerate of geek media, providing its readers and listeners a view into the podcast culture. I'm fucking this up.
No! You're doing
no, it's great. Keep going.
I know.
Scott is doing this without a script. He's doing really well.
I am.
So.
After 30-plus episodes, I should know this by heart. We'd like to thank our producer, Barbara Dillon at Fanboy Comics. Fanboy Comics is an online conglomerate of geek media, providing its readers and listeners all the anecdotes of pop culture. We'd also like to thank... Perry Adams, who beautifully performs the song Without Us. You can check out Perry's music at our website at perryadams.net. We also like to thank Brian Dillon. Brian Dillon is the president of Fanboy Comics. Be sure to follow him on Twitter at Comic Book Slayer. And lastly, Sean Foster, Fanboy Comics graphic designer, who beautifully designed our logo. Thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next week.
That was amazing. Cheers,
Good
Scott.
job, Scott.
Thank
Good
you.
job.
Thank you. Thank you,
Bye.
Jets.
Bye-bye.
Bye.